Tonight we have Min. I should have asked you if I was saying that right before we
No,
even hit.
no, that's perfect.
Okay, good. I thought it was, but I'm not the greatest with even my wife's name, so
Don't even worry about it. I actually went by like all my childhood friends call me Ming, but I just got tired of correcting people. I was like, just Min. And then in the military, people actually know me by Ted. So for Ted Nugent.
Wow. That's funny.
that's awesome. All right, so I guess do you want to give us? We didn't do our little intro. We're supposed to do an intro. I'm Casey with Sith Marketing. We have my co-host over here that's
I'm
working on his
having
computer.
weird audio problems suddenly.
Mhm.
Sorry.
And I'm Minh Nguyen. I work for a company called Mixbook.
Awesome. So I guess do you want to give us a little bit of your history? I know you've been in the industry for
Oof.
I think even longer than I have.
I think we're about the same time. It feels like uh, let's see. I started out uh, actually with the graphic design company, building websites, and one of my clients came up to me and it's like, "Hey, do you know anything about SEO?" And I said, "I have no idea, but I'll figure it out." And then that's just how it kind of started in the black hat world, or well, it wasn't considered black hat at the time. It was just like that's what you did, right?
Yeah.
Um, and then I met Tony Wright of Wright MC, joined his team. Um, then decided I wanted to try out the corporate thing, so worked at Hilton. Um, and then the pandemic happened, so went on to FedEx, and then from FedEx over to my current company, Mixbook.
Okay. So you've got a long. You went corporate. Wow. You've been in corporate for a while then.
It feels like forever, right?
Yeah. I spent 2.5 years in corporate, and
It's
I'm
a
good not
different
to go
beast.
back. It is a totally different beast.
There's parts where I miss uh, the agency world and just being on your own. Um, and then there's other times where like I don't miss the long hours. Right?
Yeah.
You still have long hours in corporate, but it's different, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So, Kevin, you still having issues? You look lost.
No, I was just I had gotten thrown off before. um, the yeah. So you said you were getting really interested lately in TikTok and search. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like my wife, I mean, she's on it like crazy, and I've become one of those where like new technology like that, I'm just like whatever, don't feel like getting on another platform. And one day, she was like, "Yeah, I got this TikTok about thrifting. It's in the Dallas area, and like I want to go do this." I'm like, "Wow!" Like it was that targeted, and we actually went out and gone thrifting because of that. And so because of that, I was like, all right, let me see what's it about. I installed it, um, started checking it out, and talked to my coworkers about it as well, and like how it just sucks you in with just how targeted and how really on point with some of the just content that you receive, right? And so uh, I started using it, and I can see now why it's so popular, right? It's when it comes to like search, like where Google wants the authority, Google wants to see that trust. You get that immediate hit right there, right? Somebody says they're a doctor or a lawyer. You don't. I'm not even vetting these people, but I already believe because of the way that they're talking, right? They're already like experts in the field just by the way they just built that trust right away, and it's just something that you can't easily replicate. At least I find when with the blog post, right? Because everybody's used to the AI generated content, and you can kind of tell, right, what's AI generated and what's just listicles and stuff like that. And so um, So seeing that in TikTok, being able to do that is insane to me, and not even having to search. And here's all these products already just being pushed to me without it really being pushed to me. And then so I just did more searches on it, and I found there's even a black cat world in there, right? Like people are creating
Uh-oh.
uh, millions of different, well, I don't know millions, but tons of different accounts, and it's like this. The one that I saw was like this weight loss story of this lady, and and I think I remember seeing it many moons ago, and then I ran into that account like 50 times. It was like the same lady, same story, and then it just filled with that type of content. And I'd imagine they've at least made some sales out of that thing, but yeah. So that's just what fascinates me about it. I don't think it's going to replace search, but I think it might steal a lot of share from Google from an eyeball standpoint. Yeah.
Yeah, because I could see it. Well, like YouTube and Instagram Reels, they're fighting to keep up with it. It's
You know,
it's it's I want to say it's crazy how fast it took off because it ain't been around as long as them, but it jumped and launched off.
and I don't understand how uh, it could go that fast, right? Like just with whatever they did. I mean, with the dance videos initially, um, and so now seeing how much it's taken off and how much it influences people, man.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, you see the power of YouTube and right and the rabbit holes, and I realized when I was looking at it that basically they took the like when you're watching a video, they might have like 15 minutes or an hour or whatever you're watching, but there's only certain parts of it that you really like. Oh, that's the part, right? And that's what they did is they like got people to just hey condense it, just give me the golden nuggets of the video.
Yeah,
Uh, that
yeah,
part I'm like, wow. Now you get people creating volumes and volumes and volumes of it. Um, and what's their time dedication to make a video? All right.
you know,
Yeah.
like certain things that I've been testing out is seeing like if we could replicate the popular videos and create content off of that, and see, like, hey, can we do the BuzzFeed of TikTok, right? And it's had mixed results. Well, we'll see, but uh, I'm hoping to try to at least replicate that, because I feel like it's hard to actually find that content when you need it, right? When you're like, hey, I need to know about this recipe or this particular
yeah,
thing that I learned, and I can't quite recall it, and going to have to scroll through different TikToks or search for it is just not as seamless as the Google experience. So I
Yeah.
think there's an opportunity there, but who knows? We'll see.
They have that feature where you can like um, take someone's existing content and do your own thing with that,
Yeah.
right?
Oh man, I love that feature. I'm starting to get sucked into a little bit. But I can, yeah, that stuff. I love those the stitches that they have in there. Yeah,
Stitches. Oh,
yeah,
okay. That's.
yeah.
I was like, that's really cool.
yeah.
Did one of my accounts just got approved for 10-minute videos?
Oh wow.
Yeah, and so I mean, I haven't tried to make any 10-minute videos on there yet, just because in my head TikTok's a 1 minute max type of game. But I'm probably in the next week or two, I'm going to do at least one or two 10-minute videos just to see.
I feel like because I do get like marketing content, which is surprising because I never said anything, right? And so um and to see like the content getting pushed over, like I think there's an opportunity there, right? Like there's just so much uh ways that you can take advantage of that. I don't want to get into having to sell clients and whatnot. But I think it's a totally a good opportunity to build a following there, if you want to put in the work, right?
Yeah, and the ability to build up knowledge quickly.
Hmm.
I mean, we were always told as marketers, hey, put your knowledge out and like
Yeah.
gain that trust. I mean, it's beautiful. I love the innovation in there.
Yeah.
Um,
The so you were you've also talked about, hold on, this one got me. Is it you did a site audit to get a job, or is that like what was
you
that
know,
about?
so like, so after the pandemic, the whole industry went kaput for the hospitality, right? And so um, I think we talked about it a little bit. Uh, Put on furlough, and then got laid off, and competing with every single marketer out there in the Dallas area was just a no go, right? It was tough. Like, I mean, I must have interviewed. I know I put out like about 100 applications. I didn't want to work remotely or anywhere else. I wanted to be in Dallas. I wanted to be in person. Um, and so all the places were pretty much around the Dallas area, um, and I just like I was not getting any bites. Right? It was tough, and so I decided, you know what? I'm going to show people what I can do. I'm just going to do a site audit, uh, do entire marketing audit, show them like where I think, as if, you know, I was going to uh, do their marketing for them, and did the presentation and whatnot. And instead of a cover letter, that's what I sent. And so every single one that I did for that, I got an interview and I made it to the final rounds. At the
Dang.
place that I landed, within, like, I was speaking with the VP over at FedEx, and in 14 minutes, he was like, I don't normally do this, but um, I'm ready to hire you. I'm like, what?
Wow.
Okay, cool. This is awesome, right? And just from that, doing that, I found it was just easier to have that conversation, to show them like, hey, here's the problems that I see with it. Here's, all the different things that I know how to do and fix, right? Um, and just being on the interviewer side, right? In my past experience, I know not a lot of people are doing that, right? So it just kind of sets you apart. And I was able to negotiate a higher rate, I think. I know definitely. So uh, After FedEx, I decided to put out some feelers, and uh, and did kind of the same thing for this other company, the Mixbook, right? And did the same exact thing, and got the interview. It was pretty seamless, and got myself a pretty decent raise from that. So I think, if anything, yeah, if you know your stuff, do the site audit. Especially if it's a company that you want to work for. Definitely, if it's a company that's just like, um, not really ready to hire, I wouldn't do it for. But the ones that you just like, you kind of get a sense like, that they're hiring. You you know, I definitely recommend that. Uh,
Man, that's brilliant. You're starting the conversation on something that's near and dear to them.
you know,
And it's right into the technical, and they want to hear it. Like, yeah, give me your info.
yeah, I wish I did that in the past. I don't know why I didn't think about it, but because I've always done like the save your portfolio stuff and show your past work, but just never really done anything that was like, all right, I'm really going to do a site audit. Not like I'd spend probably about 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours on it. Doing the screaming frog, um, going through all the different, there's all the different lists that people have. I just have my own version of that. I'm sure you guys have your own version of that too, right? And so, yeah,
I think sometimes those moments of need, we forced to innovate.
you know,
Like,
yeah,
the heck. Yeah,
Yeah,
you built up the teams over at Right IMC, the hiring, and you had a pretty good process going. Um,
yeah, I miss that sometimes. And then I realized I don't like managing people anymore. Right. Like I like managing people that really, really love the stuff, right? Obviously, right? Like that's what you want, the people that are really passionate. Um, but and yeah,
so you don't want to train up from the bottom. You want someone who's already like invested and go, okay, let me
I
show you the extra. Is that?
I don't, like I think about it every time. Like there's people that I run into and they're not sure, and I'm happy to show them like, hey, here's what it's at. But then you meet the Courtney Cox is someone
Oh,
who worked for
yeah.
Red MC. And she's just like picks it up, right? Those people, they're just so fun to work with, right? Uh, like you just know who's passionate and who's not, right? So,
Yeah,
and
those are
that's
the
that,
people like try and stop them, right?
yeah. And that's the funny thing is like I find it, just in corporate and in general, like with like agencies, like there's like who's really passionate about it and and who aren't, and like just having that gumption, you're going to be like 99% more equipped and uh, uh, do well in your career just by having that, right? Yeah,
And those people are motivating. When you get around people who
yeah,
like really wants to do it, it's not like if I'm surrounded by people that are like I mean, the business side is important. You're like,
yeah.
getting all the numbers, but if no one's like, yeah, hey, look, have you seen this data? I'm like, all right, let's get into this.
you know
uh,
I mean, like that's why, like, I mean, like about what happened to me at a previous company. uh and like it was like that, right? It was like, man, like nobody cares. The agency doesn't care. They're really just um just spending money for the sake of money, and they nobody knows and is none the wiser, right? um and so, like, that threw me out for a roller coaster. And I think just being able to be like, hey, I mean, just look at this. Like, does this make logical sense? Like, we're saying that this generates 60-70% of your revenue, just this campaign. Like, if that's the case, right, then we should be increasing it more, 100%. But
Yeah, what
yeah.
do you like keeping an agency honest, right? I mean, most people are trying to they're not going into like into a work to do a bad job, but some people are, you can just I guess what would be when how do you keep them honest and how do you like
Phew.
without putting them on the defensive and going I don't
Man,
trust you, you know?
man, I think I do. I feel like I messed up in some ways in that aspect, right? Because, like, at least in the context of what we're talking about, the agencies that I've talked to, right, specifically in this case, like definitely you want to start on the right foot, and I definitely tried. You want to get their perspective, because like you look in my closet, right, I've got tons of skeletons where it's like, yeah, I should have probably taken
Yeah.
care of that, but I didn't prioritize it, or like, actually I totally missed that in hindsight, right? That happens, I think, to everybody. And so I like to take that approach first, is just like, hey, let's just have a talk, and like, let's see what we were working on, what we're prioritizing on, and get on the same page. And unfortunately, in the case that we had, it was like I could definitely already feel the hostility right off the bat. Like, I think they knew, like, hey, like, because I asked for certain reports and they never had those. Anybody asked for those. um and so, uh in that instance, it was like, okay, well, we just need to look at, okay, what was done, what were you guys contractually obligated to do, and what was actually done. Unfortunately, that for that particular agency, they just dropped the ball. But for me, like what I like to make sure that to keep people accountable is right, just proper metrics, right? That's a simple way to just like we have a way to gauge performance, and this is the way we do it. When I'm finding out, mostly in corporate America, and at least in the companies that I've worked with, they just don't have even the analytics set up right, right? Like, hey, basic conversion tracking, like what happened here, right? Like it's super broken. This is why you have no idea this agency is driving up all these bids for your brand, and of course you're getting revenue from it because it's your brand. They're bidding heavily on it. But if you just if you knew that, you take that out and you look at the non-branded stuff, right? Then it's like, oh yeah, you haven't had a conversion in years. Right?
Yeah.
Well, it's probably not that extreme, but I know of uh, again certain companies that I've worked with where I mean that's part of the model is just simply bidding up brand, and most companies are none the wiser, and so just being able to put a spotlight on that and say what are our real goals here? Are we trying to drive overall uh, revenue? Is that okay if it's through a branded channel, right? Like for me, like you and I, we've had the performance marketing background, and so we're fine with the branded, but we usually like say, hey, this is a brand side, this is non-branded, this is what we're really focused on, right?
Yeah,
And
taken into
so
context.
yeah, and then so for me, when I talk to agencies or vendors, like show me how you improve non-branded performance, how you've done it, where's the incremental revenue there. That's when it's like the conversation you kind of can get a feel, right? At least that's how I like to look through it from that standpoint. Um, More often than not, at least from the like my current company, I can tell you, looking through different vendors, most of the times they're just doing the bare minimum, right? And you already know off the bat, and it's not even an accountability standpoint. It's just like basic um, services, right? Like, hey, you said you guys delivering a report. Where's that report? Or like, here's the project timeline. Like you missed this deadline. What happened here? At least that's been my experience lately. Fortunately, that's getting better, which is always great.
Good. Yeah, and I think a lot of people like if you've been anywhere near like the data points of marketing, and you get into conversations with an agency and it seems like fluff, and then you ask a question, and then this goes on for months, and you never quite get an answer. It's like your gut. You just have to like, but especially if like, hey, can you get me this report from day one? And that's never delivered. Even every single meeting.
Oh
Yeah.
man, oh man, I'm reliving trauma right now. uh,
I was at a DFW SEM meeting. One of the other board members, Jenna, she just she's like, I'm dealing with this agency, and I've got questions, and she's big in analytics, and I'm like, it just seems like total like like um it doesn't seem
BS.
right. Yeah, that just feels like I'm like she just rattles it off. I'm like yeah, everything that you said, your gut's right. And there's nothing. If they can't answer the next, I don't need a person to have to be right. I don't need a person to already have the answer. But
Yeah.
just showing progress, cool. Put your labor into something. All right, let's change. Now I've got new KPIs that you're not used to. It's cool. We can work together on it. But if there's no change in over a period of time, what are we gonna
Yeah.
do? I'm sorry. It's just sorry. It's my
No, no, like I mean, I'm thinking about like you made me think about like more often than not the agencies and the people that I've worked with, um, that are really, really good, that it's accountability is not even a factor at that point, is like the ones that just are able to talk about the negative, right? Like, hey, we're down and here's why, right? Here's what I think we should be doing. And sometimes just being straight up like, yeah, this is a miss. And then that's where, that's the trust, that's the, really establishing that. Because right at the end of the day, you can't win them all, not in this business, right? Like, hopefully you don't have too many losses, but right, like,
Yeah.
um, I think that's where uh, the agencies and the people that I've worked with really excel, is just like, yeah, here's the poop, and here's what we're going to do about it, right? Just right up front.
Yeah, and I think to your point, like reporting is it's part of a sales, continual sales, selling the value of what we're doing, and I think that's it's good for an agency to do that. Sometimes we can get too focused on the problems, but if they're never concerned about the problems, what problem are you solving?
You know, it's so weird, and like, so like, like you get some really good salesmen, and and rarely do I get sold on it, but like some of them are like really adept in our field, and they can sell it, and it's like, yeah, here's your team and everything,
Yeah.
and then you get onboarded, and then a week later it's a whole different team. It's like, what
Yeah.
happened?
Yeah.
Man, look at the
Like,
smoke and mirrors.
yeah. It's like, my service just changed and we just locked into a 6-month contract. What the heck? So yeah,
I can be a
I-
sucker for a really good sales pitch.
yeah. So
Yeah.
no,
So sorry the trauma. I've been in the
no.
moments of
Now I've yeah, like, thank you. I really, like, you definitely helped me out there. I'll never, like, forget how much you helped me out with just working through some of the agencies, just like, for lack of a better word, I mean, like, they perfected, some of these enterprise level vendors have perfected just psychological warfare, right? Like, because like
yeah.
they've locked in already on the e- especially if it's an agency that's just has years of it with the company, they know the levers to pull, and so they can play an ambiguity world all day long, and you helped me out, just like, am I the crazy one here? Because I don't feel like it, but I am going crazy just trying to look at these numbers and they're not adding up, and then finally realizing, oh, you guys made up a whole entire new form of math to calculate revenue.
Yeah.
I
Oh.
never so I've felt pushed back, like, being in paid, like, it's a what have you done
Mhm.
for me lately. There's always numbers, and there's always someone, like, there's one person might be really like, oh, okay, that's great, I don't need that, and then someone's gonna go, hey, what about this is okay, so you have to be ready for those. And then people going through change history logs. Hey, what have you
Yeah.
done? All these kinds of questions. And I never occurred to me that you could completely flip that around and almost weaponize it.
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know, overuse that term. I don't know, but like to use, oh, look at the change. Look at numbers. Look at all
Yeah.
this stuff. I'm. It was almost. It was a
Oh.
brilliant report of like of obfuscation. I
Yeah.
just 2 weeks of staring, like, something is not right. I can't get it. Anyway.
Especially in a if you have an organization that's just does not have confidence in their numbers, like, really, like, across the board with the marketing data and the financial
Mhm.
data, right? The financial data is usually pretty good, right? But when it translates from marketing into finance, it's like, these agencies, they'll just like, oh, are you sure you want to do that? They'll do the high pressure stuff too. It's insane how high pressure it is. Like, yeah, if you shut this down, like, I don't know, we can't be accountable for the revenue loss, right? Like, you're gonna have to sign some paperwork, like, it's like, no, shut this off, shut it off. I guarantee you'll be okay, right? Like it's not doing anything for you.
Oh my
So
god, that's really good client services,
yeah,
but it's flipped around as a oh my
yeah,
god.
they all those different tactics that they'll do, and especially in the affiliate marketing world, right? Like with some of the I mean, like nothing against affiliate marketers, right? I think I love the ones that are really doing it, but the ones that are ruining it, just like at Black Hat, some of the Black Hat SEOs that are really just ruining it for a lot of people, right? They've come up with the ways. Like some have like their own like um what's it called, Chrome extension, and they'll inject their code right into the buyer process, and then companies are none the wiser. They just see, oh yeah, this is generating revenue, and it's like, no, that revenue is already yours. Now
Yeah,
you're just paying them for the honor.
yeah,
Affiliates
uh,
know that their industry deserves their reputation.
yeah, but
I've been told going to affiliate conferences, like invited out there by Adam Reamer to
yeah,
multiple. And he's always like, "Do not tell them any of your client names. Anyone you work with, do not tell
yeah.
anyone." Just like what?
That's
Like
good
just
advice.
not going into it. Just it's like all right.
Adam's another one with just great advice. Somebody that'll definitely give you straight up, here's what you need to be focused on, right?
Yeah, yeah, he doesn't pull punches.
Yeah.
Um, See, we're gonna get into. Hold on, wanted to go through the. Oh yeah, that's right. The helpful content update. And it's all the rage right now, right?
Yeah, like so I was actually worried about that because I thought, based on the questions and things like that, looking at it, and like we've got quite a bit of content that we probably need to be worried about. And honestly, for our experience right now, and not only with my company's website, but other websites that I've been monitoring, um, it's been pretty quiet. It's like, is it done yet? Like,
yeah,
uh, um, like I'm just waiting for the hammer to fall, right? And um, ah,
yeah. I know Google started rolling out their core update
Mhm.
this week, and I'm wondering if those are going to kind of coincide and be a little bit more drastic as the weeks roll out. Because I
Yeah,
like all the websites that I've been monitoring. Nah, I mean, I have a couple of test sites that are not helpful content related at all, and they're still doing fine. So there's got to be something happening long term that's going to roll that out more.
it kind of reminds me of like the when Google's like, hey, mobile, right? Where everybody get your mobile stuff ready, and it's like, let's put it off, and then bam.
Yeah, yeah. That's kind of
um,
what it does feel like that.
yeah, I'm just
Like it
my
was like slow, 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 and then all of a sudden flip. And if you're not there, you're done.
you're done. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Um, and this one, like being a site-wide penalty, like, or what they didn't say penalty, but like a site-wide I can't remember what they said, but yeah, um, like that right there keeps me up at night, right? Like, did we do enough for our content? Like, what? Like, because like if you actually look at the SERPs, like for me, um, just objectively speaking, any like I'm getting search fatigue, right? Like I'm tired of like running into like those listicles that this does not provide really any value. Like I could take that topic, put it into AI, and get the same type of content, right? It's
Yeah.
there, and so
yeah,
and it's just like the whole SERP, and I can see where Google is coming from, and I'm like, I think objectively speaking, a lot of the content that I'm managing right now uh, could be better, right? And so uh, I really don't. I know what we should be doing, but I don't know if it's actually going to make an impact, because like, how do you prove uh, real authority, right? Like, at least um, for the stuff that I'm writing about, or the stuff, that content that we're producing, right? The mostly like, how do you know that I'm a legit photographer, for example, right? Or somebody that can talk about psychology. Um, uh, you just can't really generate that without having a person on staff, right?
Yeah.
Oh, do you think that feeds into to eat? Is that
I think it does. But I mean, here we are, and the everything's fine, right? The sky isn't falling, so right.
I have to sit around you like and read the since I don't do SEO, this
I,
is all like
oh yeah, so um, basically, essentially, like, from what Google is saying, is like, is this content actually helping the user, right? Is it actually providing value? Like, would you write this anyway, despite search, right? Would you write this for users? And objectively speaking, like, I just want to say, for we just started our content marketing. I just with my company, and just trying to really build that up. And I'd say, if I were to objectively look at all the content that we've produced, honestly, it doesn't, right? It just doesn't do that. Um, and so, and again, when I look at, to me, looking at other sites and stuff, I think we've all been trained to just kind of create long form listicles, because that's what Google's showing. And how do you morph that? And we're thinking like first party data, right? Getting surveys, getting um, uh, just doing stuff ourselves, literally, like, hey, let's buy this thing that people are doing, wondering about. We'll buy it, we'll review it. So if it's a new iPhone, or if it's a new thing, we'll just tell them our perspective, right? um, but at the same time, we're like, do we want to invest in that? Because um, nothing's happening, and nothing feels like, our competitors are definitely doing the AI form content, and it's like, are we going to actually beat that, right? So
yeah. I read so much content, and then but I'm seeing so many things that are just little. I'm like, this is like a beat down to read. Am I getting anything out of this? And then many of them, like, it was there any creativity behind it? Or could an AI have just read off a bunch of
mhm,
stats and then repeated lines from elsewhere?
yeah.
Those ones are like killing me, and but some ideas that I get, Casey. You want to? What was the one last night? The I'm trying to remember.
Dude,
My
that was
gosh,
last night.
I know. The brackets.
Oh, she did. She basically took her bottom 25 products that she had and created like a March Madness bracket.
Hmm.
And if your bracket was unbroken, then you got the winning product for life.
Huh.
And it was a high usage product. So
Wow.
it would have been costly, but if you ran the numbers right, there was no chance of everybody winning it. But they did videos, content, and really pumped up this whole bracket and run sales for the winners for each bracket for a week, and like flew their sales through the roof. One that was not even one of the bottom 25s ended up being a bestseller until the business shut down
Oh
for
wow.
like 4 years. So it was something like I had never thought about that, but you're talking it cost them really nothing except making some videos
You know,
and have a voting poll system. That
That
was
was
that's
it.
all.
amazing.
Yeah, this was, and you'd relate with this. This is about they were doing vape. And it was flavors. They couldn't get rid of some of the lower end volume of like inventory, right? People didn't want some of these. So they started having brackets, right? Your March Madness, to where people could take flavors like and start like putting like, and
That's
so people
awesome.
would vote on these.
Yeah.
So people just started creating like tons and tons of their own content for it.
Wow.
Like they were people said people were getting super competitive and everything. I
Dude, and this
that
was like, what she say, like 4 or 5 years ago?
yeah.
Wow.
I couldn't even imagine what that would do on TikTok today.
Oh,
You know,
The user-generated
and
content just from that on TikTok
you
would
guys
be
want to start a vape company and find out? I
um,
feel like because like that, like many moons ago, right? I figured out a way to advertise vape products when they were banned on Google AdWords, right? Uh, the way I did it was we would create just a basically a mirror website that just it would just talk like it almost looked like a press release, and you just click that press release, and then it takes you to the store with all the vapes, and then you could purchase and whatnot. And so the clicks were like 10 cents a click for like vape juice and all this stuff, right? And it was
oh
uh
my
it was
god.
fantastic. I remember the client coming in and handing out like $1,000 to everybody. Just like it was like we ended up, well, uh, we had to give it back because we couldn't legally take that. Uh, but I think you're onto an idea right here. Like, yeah, let's like bracket it up with the TikTok, right? Like,
Oh my god. Yeah.
yeah.
And that's helpful because people. I mean, we know that Google looks at click through rate on organic. They have to be looking at other factors. They see how long you're on a site. So they've got to have indicators that people are
yeah,
like checking out halfway through your article. If it's not useful, all right, that's gotta. I mean, that's my guess. Um,
yeah,
the, but
because I could see that being, like definitely a viral thing, right? Like, huh?
yeah, people are
Well,
showing you this is insanely helpful to me, even if it's not solving a problem. It's
yeah.
like entertainment. Oh heck yeah,
I
because now
mean,
you're invested. Like
yeah,
fantasy sports, Vegas figured out this is like people who do not care about football are like watching as many games as possible because they got their players and all over the place on different like. Okay, this is. Uh,
yeah,
So, but I've thought about a lot of it, and if you're coming in trying to write an article as a landscaper,
mhm,
like a lot of it's agencies writing this, or we're trying
yeah,
to, we got a content writer sitting down. What are we going to write about? How are we going to make this interesting? But I think in a lot of times, the idea is that in that area, if it's a landscaper, they have very specific plants that are likely to be there. They have very specific weather patterns. They have very specific weather that's coming up soon. So the zip codes, the types of plants there, all the localized information. Because like if a storm hits and you're or a drought hits, but you could already see that weather cycle, like looking at that area. Like there's sites for it. And go, okay, what's the weather coming up for that? Well, when the weather hits, everyone else's traffic is going to flatline, and you're suddenly relevant because people have a problem. They're looking for it. I don't know.
mm,
Just thinking about it as if we were the client, is I think this is the problem. How am I going to make something unique for which hasn't been written 1,500
you
times
know,
already?
like one of my first clients, and I still manage him to kind of is a carpet cleaning company here in Dallas, and yeah, I was like, when we first started out, I was like, this is what we need to do is we need to write a ton of content about carpet cleaning, At the time, he was one of the few that was writing like just all the different tips and tricks of like getting different types of stains out, and then it just like it just blew up, right? Like people were writing content left and right, and now he's reached out and he's like, I feel like I've written everything they would possibly write. I've built out all the local listings that we can potentially build out. What next? And like, man, like put that content on TikTok, because that's that's the best I can get for you right now, because I honestly don't know, right? Like if you don't know and you're not like reviewing or doing stuff, that you have enough time to do that, then start making some videos, right? Because that's where everybody's going, or it feels like they're going. So you at least lay some claim there.
Yeah, you should watch we got a video from a few weeks ago from Sarah Ciala. That's correct the name again. Sorry, Sarah. Sarah, who did one like talking about TikTok, and she said they do auto dealerships, but she said we have them 3 to 4 videos minimum a week. Don't worry about like high production value. Get your repair people, get your service people, get just the people in the company, like personalize it. Just making fun little things. You're not, 15 seconds. They're running 14-day campaigns on ads.
Wow.
These are and it's the temporary web idea. It's gone. People are like they may see it once, they may have seen it at max twice, and it's gone from history. So who cares? So just keep putting that stuff out. Whatever's happened in the past, whoever's current, that's the one that's getting out there.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, the paradigm shifts that are built into it.
I think you just gave me an idea of just like, right, like figure out like your best tips for your company, your best piece of advice, all that stuff, and just start those 15-second clips. Just go and do it, whatever it is. Right. I think it's better.
A torn carpet, right? This, laying down carpet. People are doing things. Sorry, I didn't mean that. But 2020 showed that we do not care. We want to see other people doing things.
Yeah.
My wife will watch for hours people pressure washing, and painting, cleaning cars, detailing things. She just it's cathartic for her.
It's the ASMR effect, right? Like just that nice. It's clean now, right? I think there's a whole thing on that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, my kids like they go off about, but we think of our jobs as boring because it's every day to us.
Yeah.
But I guarantee a plumber has so many things, like a broken toilet. That's got to be fascinating to people.
Yeah.
Oh, look what happened! Like pipes burst. Cool. Get it on video.
My wife. I mean, like, yeah, my wife. She sent me a laundry issue. Like it was like a TikTok about how if your laundry has these certain issues, this is what you need to do. And it was like that's what we need to do, and we did it, and now we don't have that issue anymore, right? And it's just
that's awesome.
Constant, content. It's just super scary on how well. Here's the thing, right? There's also the other side that I think that where I'm like, not anti TikTok, but where I'm like, like now it's kind of lost its luster. There's this alarmist feed that just for any category, there's just this alarmist thing like, oh, you should watch out for this or you should watch out for that. And the one that comes to mind is there's this guy, he shows a picture or shows his daughter's car, and there's a zip tie on the handle, and he's like, watch out for this, if this means that you're this person's targeted for trafficking and whatnot. And it's like, is this something. And so I don't know. I had to Google it. I had to research it. I don't know if I can't conclude either way. But what I'll say is what I found was it was like a one of those urban legends, a play on one of the urban legends, where like they drew chalk in front of your sidewalk, and that meant like your house was ready for, so I don't know, but there's a lot of that stuff. So that my wife will come to me and be like, hey, should we be worried about this? uh, I don't think so, but now I am, right?
Yeah,
So right, so yeah.
I wasn't, but now I am.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is the. I mean, everything can eventually turn into clickbaity kind of
you
like
know,
environment, where we're
yeah,
like, oh my god, we have to look at this and worry. There's a lot to worry about, So
you know.
uh, I don't want to. I don't want to feed into that, but yeah, yeah, but you're right. I mean, that I think there's so much material to
Mhm.
cover over there. I, I'm st- I, everything. I haven't been able to talk myself into doing it. It's
It, what I'll say is, if you do, the first, I think the first day, it's just gonna be like calibrating, right? But then once you start liking things, or how whatever you're using to how they're gauging, like it starts feeding you some pretty fantastic content. I will say, I will say, um, uh,
Oh, I've gotten on there a
yeah.
little bit. Now for a
Mhm.
while it triggered my fight or flight response. It's
Oh,
like a video that come up with a noise. I'm like, whoa,
yeah,
but I started getting into it, and I was like,
yeah.
okay, I can see the appeal.
Mhm.
But we keep talking about filming on there. Casey, I guess, has done a little bit more.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like, what do you think about it? Uh,
It's I like it.
mhm.
It's it it's surprisingly, it's not like YouTube,
Yeah.
or you can create like, I did a couple videos on like whiskeys and stuff like that,
Oh, that's
and
cool.
you can it just shows you the people that are
Mhm.
interested in that. It's not like you're
Yeah.
trying to get people or build an audience. It just shoves you out there, which is really nice. And people will actually comment on your stuff. Like, I think my whiskey one, I think I got like 20 followers, but all my
Nice.
videos are, some of them have over 1,000 views with comments on them. And it's like, okay, if I can do it, and it's not like I'm an active video guy. I'm more of like once every other month, I'll put
Yeah.
something out there, and it still is good. So I need to get a little bit more serious about it and actually kind of play around with it and do some stuff for some clients on it and see if it works out. So
Huh. I'd love your tips on that, because like that's the one area, at least, where I've been trying to figure out like how to like break that for, or get into it for our company. I'm like, I'm not even the right guy for this, really, honestly, right? Like most of our audience is female, right? Like here's me, a guy mansplaining a whole bunch of different things, right?
yeah,
Would not go well. So I'm curious, like, your thoughts on like how you break into that. But um, so whiskey, I'm curious. I just learned about the Buffalo Trace. Uh,
yeah,
what do you think about Buffalo Trace?
it's it. So Buffalo Trace makes a bunch of different products.
Hmm.
The Buffalo Trace bottle is the easiest of them to get, and it's gonna sound horrible. It's a okay, but it's like it is their bottom of the
Yeah.
line bottle. Uh, it's good. Like most of the time, if, I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this, but like I'll
Uh,
do a whiskey lemonade with Buffalo Trace,
hmm.
'cause, but it's just really good with lemonade.
Okay.
Uh, they have blends. If you get lucky and can find one of those at retail, grab
Could
one.
never.
But yeah, there's like their top end bottle, like the Pappy Van Winkles is all of their products, and they have a OFC, which is old fashioned copper. It comes in a little copper tube about a foot and a half tall, but
Wow.
the retail is like $3,600 for that bottle. They make 25 bottles a year,
Wow.
so it's crazy, and there is a secondary market for all of this stuff. So, I'm obviously with anything, there's always we'll go with Black Hat World for everything.
Yep. So like, because like, I mean, I like whiskey, but I definitely don't drink it often. I'm a cheap whiskey. Like, I mean, I still like Jack Daniels, right?
Is there a problem with Jack
but,
Daniels?
no, like,
No.
but I can't like I've had some more expensive stuff, and I'm like I can appreciate why this is so good, right? And
Mm.
so all this to say is like, you have any recommendations? Let's say under 200. Is that like a good price
Yeah.
point?
Let's see. The Wellers.
The
Stick
Wellers.
away from you can find Special Reserve if you can find one of the others, like a Weller Antique or the Weller 12 year. If you can find either one of those are really good, but they're really hard to
Ah.
find. If you're, I'm trying
Say
to
if I
think.
just walked right into any liquor store, what would you be grabbing or looking for that's at least moderately available?
So, Whistle Pig,
Whistle Pig. Okay.
yeah, their 8 year is really good.
Alrighty. Sorry, I didn't mean to
Oh,
tangent off.
But we talk about
no,
whatever. It's
Oh, okay. Okay.
yeah, no, sir.
I was just trying to
Put
figure
on
out
this.
what Buffalo Trace was at first. I've never heard of it.
Yeah, a friend of mine, he was celebrating his anniversary, so we all went down and visit in Austin, and I guess they're having trouble where he's living, and it's just it was pretty good.
Yeah. So, really, okay. You don't have to answer this or don't tell because we're live, but find a local small shop near you that does a lot of business,
Hmm.
and if you're wanting to get into this world, every week you're going to buy something, and you just spend 30 minutes talking to the person.
Okay.
I mean, I've got one shop that it was about a year of I could tell you spouses' names, their names, ex-employees, their spouses' names, owners' names. I could tell you everything about them. But when they get something extremely freaking cool in, I get a text message about it.
Nice.
So it's the higher end bottles. It's a relationship game.
Yeah, I can imagine.
You, you can out money the system. You can, but if you're trying to be not spend an arm and a leg, because like okay, so Kevin, a bottle of Bland's retail is like $70. Secondary is like 125.
Oh.
The Weller 12 year is 60 retail. It's $200 aftermarket.
Hmm.
So if it's 200 when it hits stores across the city, like DFW. If it's outside of that season, it's like 220, 225. So you also got to there's key groups that I can add you to if you want to be really dive into this, because those dudes, especially you're on the Dallas side, right?
Hmm.
Oh, dude.
Well, I mean, North Dallas. I'm in Allen.
Yeah, you're good. That's
Yeah.
close enough. There's more stuff drops up your side than does over
Okay.
here on the Fort Worth side.
Huh.
So they post in those groups when stuff hit the shelf. If you just find one of the stores near you that you can take a 5-minute drive to, most of the time you'll pick up a bottle. So like
Nice.
Stag Juniors, you can get those when they drop. But as soon as somebody posts it, you got to be like, am I going or not? Because this is I've got 6 to 10 minutes to get there before they're sold out. So
I am that guy. I'm definitely that guy. So okay, yeah. Like that's essentially what I do for my side hustle is with board games, right?
oh, okay, yeah.
But
No,
yeah,
we need to have a chat. We'll chat for this
okay, okay,
because you may have to come to Fort Worth
okay.
and we can have a drink or two.
It's a deal.
So,
Yeah.
not to be that guy, but you were interested in inflation, making making profit during inflation. Yeah.
Well, so
Sorry, I don't know if this
no,
is like
no,
awkward or
Completely derailing.
no, no, no.
if I had a shot, I'd take one. But just
Let's see here. Uh, no, I was thinking like, right, like it's kind of the same thing with the helpful content is it feels like inflation's going at some point, right? I feel like the market or people are just going to stop spending, right? Are you guys sensing that with your clients, or I just feel like nothing has quite changed much, but
It really hasn't. You hear people talking about it, but I haven't really seen. There's one industry I know that's taking a hit, and it's it it was really good through COVID, but now that
yeah,
COVID is over, it's starting to take a hit. Um,
because it
but
almost
yeah,
feels like, oh, sorry.
not really anything that I've seen. I mean, there's all the other industries I'm got fingers into now.
Yeah, just like with it seems like everything going on, and then it just feels like people just paying the higher prices, and still doing kind of the same thing. I think it's because like maybe it's like just the anti uh, COVID of just like, hey, I don't want to not do anything. I know what that's like. I'm just gonna go out and do it because even I feel like that, right? Like I'm like, uh, do we want to skip another year of just not doing anything?
Yeah,
And like I want to see family, friends, do something, but it's expensive. But
I just got my updated booster shot. So
and that
um, yeah, and I'm not hearing. So the conversations, I'm hearing people talk about inflation. The biggest ones that I'm seeing is people going, God, we can't throw enough money at people to work. Like there's a lot of service industry that
yeah,
are saying like warm body and warm body optional. Um, just
yeah,
whatever, get them in the door, and they're just throwing money at people who I don't care if you have experience. I mean, I like it, but um, and
dude,
that's the big change there.
we drove by a Panda Express that put up a sign $15 to $24 an hour
wow,
plus bonuses, and I'm like, you're a fast food Panda Express. Uh, how how this could cost me $20 to one person to eat at Panda Express when you're paying somebody that much.
yeah,
Walmart stopped being 24/7. Um,
Yeah,
I suspect that's it makes sense in a shorter and a tightening labor market
hmm
because condensed. And what is it overnight? I used to work overnight at Walmart a long time ago. It's like half of it's teenagers with pool noodles, right? uh, it's a lot of energy expenditure to keep your customer base, but if you can condense those hours down, you don't need quite as many employees to fill out your needs. That's my guess on it. Um, I have not heard in months anyone talk about their investments or doing something they're doing for investing. I mean, I'm not talking to people about investing like regularly, but
Yeah.
like for a couple of years, it was like, hey, I'm doing this. Hey, I'm doing this. Like a whole tons of people like, hey, I've barely done anything ever investing, and suddenly I'm making money on this. I don't. I just haven't heard anyone talk about it lately. I don't know if there's the shift on like personal
We
investing.
we just talked about it. Did you not hear our conversation?
Oh yeah, that's right. The secondary market.
Yeah, the
All right.
whiskeys.
Yeah, okay. I heard that loud and clear.
Okay.
It's good
Okay,
investment
so
right there.
the stock market is the part that I'm like, and
Oh,
stocks. Sorry. Um,
yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole thing there too, right? Like, but that's so tangent. But yeah, I was just seeing if like you guys experienced that with like your industries or like, because at least from different industries that I have my hands in, right? Like it feels like pretty much full all systems go, right? And no stopping.
It
Which
yeah.
so I have a side hustle it's a Christmas side hustle.
mhm.
I raised prices 25% this year, and so far nobody's balked at the price increase.
which
So, which if we're going down a hill, you
mhm.
would start balking at
Yeah,
any price increase. And
yeah.
nobody's questioned it.
And that's what like I said, like my side hustle selling games, right? Like I've increased prices there. They're still selling like hotcakes. That's pretty much what's over on this side on the other side. That's why,
What's
yeah. But
selling board games?
yeah, yeah.
Dude,
Um,
that's awesome. You got your own you made?
no, not my own. I just buy what I think is gonna do well and then sell. Most of the time, it's like it's usually like the um, games with like a lot of miniatures, or like
Oh,
very complicated. Uh, they just people just love them. So like
Warhammer 40K?
that I have not gotten into. That one's like too much uh, stuff that I have to compete against. So I try some other niches. Yeah, but yeah.
Got an
Cool.
example?
So one was a game called Tainted Grail, which did really well. Um,
I
it's
really thought you were going to say Monopoly.
no, no, like there's another game like it's called Oathsworn that just came out. There's a version of Jurassic Park. I'm hoping to do well. Uh,
Wait,
Marvel
really?
Unite, yeah, Marvel United X-Men that just dropped. The game sucks, but the miniatures are very well. I shouldn't say that. The game it's not my cup of tea, right? But man, does that thing sell? Uh,
Do you have a
so
website?
no, I just do it all on eBay, man. Like I don't want to manage another website. That's the last thing I want to do. All right, this is supposed to be
Oh, yeah.
passive income. Passive income is as much as I can make it. All I do is just set it up on eBay, and then just do the fulfillment because like UPS is just like pretty much 2-3 minutes away, so I don't have to do too much.
I haven't
Um,
been on eBay for a couple years, but do you have your own like what shop or play?
Yeah, shelf life games and relics. But right now, I've did not um, list any products right now because I have a work event that I got to go to next week, so
Oh,
kind of
okay.
manage that pretty nicely. But like, don't buy. Honestly, they're all overpriced. Like, if you need it, just like send me a message. I'll hook you up.
Oh, we try to promote, for stuff for
Oh no
guests
no no
coming
no no
on.
no 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 no! Like
Oh,
that's no uh, no
yeah, because
need
we
no need.
we
Yeah,
appreciate you coming on, dude.
no.
Man, you're awesome, man.
No,
Uh,
anything for you, man. Anything. Like I appreciate it. And if you ever need anybody to chat again, I'm happy to. I'd love to talk to you about the product feed stuff with organic. If you know, just that's something that I'm getting stuck on. But yeah, definitely do not buy anything off of Shelf Life Games and Relics. It's all overpriced. Most of the people that buy it on there can afford it, so that's why. So
Oh, I wasn't trying to.
Oh,
Didn't want to show you off, but if you want to go through,
oh
Casey's got
no,
some
yeah,
questions.
yeah, absolutely.
yeah, Casey should have had these pulled up.
What?
I know.
Again, a failure.
Speaker
No,
questions.
Jesus.
Let's see.
I feel like I need some whiskey now. You know.
Right.
Oh,
This is the perfect time for it. We go through some questions at the end, and it's always a grab bag of never know what you're gonna get. I had one. My first time delivering the question was just absolutely.
ask him your question. Ask him your question.
uh, was it who stole the cookie from the cookie jar, and why did you think you were gonna get away with it?
Who, me? Could it be?
That was beautiful. Perfect.
Yeah. All right. So we'll start off with some easy ones. What is your favorite book?
Oh man, is that an easy one? Like I go back to I like really like I honestly like really campy. Well, sometimes campy, but it's like just trashy sci-fi, just good, just brain dumps. But like one of the ones that I always go back to is a book called Lucifer's Hammer. It's about comet hitting the world, and it's just chaos. Like it's not post-apocalyptic, but it's just like apocalyptic just before the chaos, right? And it just got me into a lot of different sci-fi that I read. It was like one of the first ones that I really read as a teenager. I can't even remember at this point, but yeah, I think that was my favorite.
Okay.
I gotta check that one out.
Yeah, you see, I am. Kevin's more the sci-fi book type of guy. I'm more of business learning books.
Oh yeah, like I hate saying this one. As far as the business side of things, I really enjoyed 48 Laws of Power. Um, I liked it because it helped me just like kind of frame like, okay, are people trying to manipulate me, right? Or like, are they, it just kind of also helped me set some expectations. But now I can barely remember what what I read from it, but I just remember like, for example, like uh, your reputation is everything, right? Guard it with your life, right? Like was the message, and that just stuck with me because like a lot of in the book there's the law, and then like people that kind of there's ways you can kind of bend that law or just do a reversal. But this one was like there's no reversal for this one. You just your reputation is everything, right? So
Nice.
Okay. I just finished Never Split the Difference.
never splits the difference.
Yeah, it's by FBI negotiator Chris Voss.
Huh.
Dude, it it really has made me think about like even from like negotiating for a car. He goes into how to do that, what questions to ask. Never ask a why question.
Huh. Okay.
Because why would you do that?
I
It comes
mean,
off offensive.
oh yeah, yeah. Just learned that on TikTok.
Yeah,
And so if you say why, you'd be like, you say, I want to know that because I'm
yeah,
asking because, yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Why is an offensive question?
it is an offensive question. I can see.
Huh.
Yeah,
I'm very bad at that.
yeah. And it's like he said there was only one reason to use why. and it was like if you're trying to understand why they're coming to you for help, like, Kevin, why are you coming to me? You have Min as an awesome resource. And so
He's
you're
coming to
saying,
me. Yeah.
yeah, so you're saying something good about somebody and trying to get them to open up why they're asking you for help. Because
Mm-hmm.
Min's probably a way better resource than I am. I can tell
That's
you
not
that.
true. That's not true.
Much more trustworthy.
But okay, I'll give you that one. All right. Are there any positions or opinions that you have recently changed your mind on?
Oh man, I feel like this is like a lot of stuff. Let's see.
That's a good one.
Like, so I subscribe to Reddit. There's a thread called change, or a subreddit called change my view, and like that subreddit just always changes my view on something, whether it's politics or just like how I should be handling things. Like, it's nice to see people's opinion out there that they just simply, you get all sides, and it's not really argumentative in the way that is negative, right? It's
Yeah.
productive. And so, oh man, that's actually one of the ones, like with my wife, asking why in my tone. Not necessarily asking why, but just my tone in the way I talk to my wife. All right. She has mentioned like I can be very abrasive. So uh, I've self-reflected on that and have definitely, okay, I'm kind of an asshole. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh,
Have you
Yeah,
changed your
but
ways, or
I
still
have.
continue?
I'm not going to speak for myself on that one, but it feels like, I think there's some progress there.
Oh,
good, good.
Uh,
What are you gonna
and
say, Casey?
I'm off very abrasive people too, and so I totally get that. I have to. People always wonder why I'm so quiet, and it's like because I have to think about what I'm going to say, or you're not going to be happy with me. It's that's just
and I feel like I come from a good spot, right? Like, at the end of the day, I feel like most people that just say what they want to say, really genuinely are coming from a good place, right? Like, because like I think about like in marketing, or just like what companies have been doing. Like Pepsi came out with that commercial with the, I think it was Kylie Jenner, right? Like, if they had us on staff, that commercial would never exist, guarantee.
yep.
Yeah.
So there's a plus and minus to everything. Because I feel like I would have spoken up, and I'm like, you don't want to do that.
Yeah, not so good. All right, if you could live anywhere, where would you live?
Oh man. So it's funny you ask this, because like, my wife and I, we're wanting to move further north. We really don't know where, but Minnesota has been, kind of like the spot that we keep talking about, because it's closer to her family, and yeah, so like if that's probably there. I know it sounds boring, right? Like, I'm a military brat, and I was in the military, so I've lived quite a bit of places, and I just like to go and experience something new. And so Minnesota would definitely be way different from what I'm
Yeah,
used to.
yeah. I've been there. I went there once for like 4 or 5 days a couple years
Yeah.
ago, and it's a totally different cold.
Oh, see, everybody
So,
says
yeah.
that stuff. And
Well, okay. Like me, I'm a shorts and t-shirt guy, like year round. But here it gets cold. There it's more like a dry cold. Like it was -5, and I walked out in shorts and
okay.
t-shirt, and I was like, "Oh, good, make the day work." So it's weird.
Oh,
So
like, the thing is like, I would miss Texas barbecue too much, right? Like there's the food scene here is just awesome, right?
Yeah,
Like
it really is. I mean, my figure says so. So
you can't really tell,
Yeah.
but mine does too. Like
Yeah.
I've popped a few buttons. I recently had to go shop at what's it one of those out chain stores to buy up a new size.
yeah. So what is something people often get wrong about what you do?
Oh man, I think the biggest thing for SEO is like I think people think it's more complicated than it needs to be. Um, I think right, like especially with all the past rumor type uh, uh, of just ranking factors that people would say, and it's like, oh, we need to do this or we have to do this, and it's like, no, that's not the spirit of what um, we're trying to do, or like what
Yeah,
what they said we should be doing, right, like don't worry too much about this thing, it's not that important, right. So I think that's the biggest misconception, and especially right now in at my company, it's just like a lot of educating. Um, uh, like here, focus on the user experience. You guys write to write. Let me worry about what the search engine is going to do about it. Right? Like a lot of times, just writers will be like, "Yeah, we have to do it. I'm SEO trained, and it has to have this much keywords and things." Like you're focused on the wrong things. You're a writer. I'm not the writer, right? I need you to
yeah,
write and let me do the SEO, right? So
yeah, yeah. I had one place I did some work for that they would put out press releases like every other week and not do a link back. No links, no nothing. And I was like, guys, I don't care what you link. Just put a link back to our site. I don't. You can highlight if it's the word A. I do not
you know,
care.
like okay,
It's getting trained people trained up
yeah,
to at least fall on some kind of base standards.
and that's I think that's where good agencies have the opportunity is just caring. A lot of times you'll find, at least so far, is like most people, they just don't care, they just do the job or whatever that is in their mind, and it's like, man, had you just taken the time to just connect with some of these people and just tell them, hey, this is what you need to do, this is what we're trying to accomplish, right. um you're going to do so much better than those guys.
Yeah,
But yeah, and that's where it all comes from misconceptions, right. It's just like just bad SEOs, just not
yeah.
caring.
Not caring, not trying to
Yeah,
help them. Because I'm like, I have clients that don't pay me to do certain things, but I'll help them in a heartbeat because I know if they will do this, then my side over here gets a whole lot easier.
yeah,
So working with clients to help get them going in the right direction, even if you're not getting paid to do it, it still helps you.
yeah,
Man, I hear you loud and clear. Like it feels like, I mean, we want to avoid over siloing, but if you got people like you were talking about earlier, getting people who are passionate about something. If I know I'm working with people who are like really into what they're doing, we can more or less stay in our lane and collaborate where need to, and I can put on my blinders to certain things, right?
yeah,
I'm so much more like, yeah, I'm going this because they've got that. But if I'm working with people that is like, I kind of feeling like, all right, is anybody on the same page? I'm so much less productive because I'm like worried, like, okay, I've got to worry about this, I've got to worry about this, and this is way outside my wheelhouse. So
yeah, yeah. Just makes it makes the day a lot longer, and I'm like, just if you're gonna slack ass, at least do something a little bit, right? Just a little bit,
right.
all right.
Yeah,
Or but if you're not, then just get out of the way. All right, get out of the way. Let us do what we came here to do. All right. So yeah.
You have set the bar a little high there. I mean,
All right, last question. How do you want to be remembered?
Oh man. I honestly have never thought about this. My initial gut reaction is I hope that I was kind, that I left. No, I hope I didn't make anybody feel bad. It's actually, it gives me anxiety thinking about how many people that I potentially have wronged or have wronged, and probably need to make amends on that, And so I definitely hope, or not remembered at all is fine too. I'm totally fine with that. Mostly unforgettable or forgettable, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, any closing thoughts?
No, this is great. This was a lot of fun. Like I hope this was helpful, or at least in some
Yeah.
form worth your time.
No, this is
But
fantastic material, man. Oh, I loved it.
well,
Yeah.
I've got some whiskeys I need to. There's a whole like secondary market. Is this where we're calling things now? So,
Yeah.
man, that is awesome. All right, thanks so much, guys.
All
We'll be
right.
back
Thank
next
you.
week, and thank you so much, man.
All right. Thank
Thanks.
you. All right.